Hi folks. Off-grid solar assembly. What are the different components? How does it work? Where do you get them? There are a lot of moving parts. Actually, not really moving parts, but different components and aspects to it that I've been asked to talk about. So I'm going to go through some of those real quickly. This is not a lecture or a lesson, just how our system works. But before that, I want to welcome you to my off-grid homestead in the forest, and let me take you to what we call here as the brain room. And that is where all the different components are. Not the batteries. I shot a couple of pictures of that. If I remember, I will include in this video somewhere, somehow. Let's go. We're going up towards the second floor. And well, here we are. I just have to see if I can somehow get this camera positioned so that you can see me and everything, which looks like you cannot. Huh. Okay, well, I guess, I don't have a wide enough of an angle on this camera. And I don't have any other cameras. How about if I just do a side to side and then I'll talk about it. From here, you see that box there. This box is the same sort of a typical fuse panel that you might have at your house. And where the breakers are. Just a plug there for working on different components, and we need to have something plugged in that doesn't have a battery powered tool or something. That big machine, this big unit that you see here, is called an inverter. So as the name suggests, it inverts the power from your battery, your solar panels, and your battery are what is known as direct current, DC, if you've heard of it, and that was what Thomas Edison's thing. And ironically, Tesla's thing was AC, which is alternating current. I say it's funny, kind of an ironic, because Elon's named his company Tesla, which is a DC sort of a operation, as opposed to Nikola Tesla's original rival, which basically put him out of business. Thomas Edison, who had an AC. Anyway, maybe I didn't describe it right, but you might have already known. So that charge controller, that inverter, that big piece here, you can hear it because the fan is working. It's just trying to cool itself down. All it does is that the solar panels harvest the sun power, convert it to, that DC, the direct current, sends it to the batteries as they get banked in the batteries. We just had an upgrade on our batteries. Now we're on lithium. Before that, we had, I think they were lead acid, which are indestructible and completely dismantleable and reusable. Problem is they take too much space. Anyway, so while you've banked all that power that you harvested in your batteries, they are in a form of a direct DC. And then what happens if you have appliances that you buy from the store, regular store, not from an off-grid store? To name a few are fridges, stoves, washing machines, dishwashers, your pump for your well. These are all DC appliances. So what this machine does, it converts that power from DC to AC. So DC is what you have, DC is what you have in your power bank, and AC is what your appliances like to run on. So one's 110, for instance. So what happens is this big machine does that. Now, depending on how many batteries you have, how many panels you have, the size of this will be dependent on that. And they come in different sizes and prices. This one's by Samlex, and this is a 4000. And then by that, see, I don't know if you can see, it says it converts 24 volt DC input to 120 AC output. You see understand what I'm saying? So what you have is 24, like your car battery, 24 volt direct current. That's what we have in our battery bank. But the appliances run on 120 AC. So this converts that to that. So then they can operate together in unison, in harmony, no fights. You could buy DC run appliances like fridges and stoves and whatever. They just cost a lot more. In fact, we have some of our lights. The light right above me is run on DC, which is on that side, that panel there. I will swing it around so you can see. Then there's a big, I don't know if you can see, there's a big breaker for a charge controller, just for that, if you want to disconnect it. There's another inverter, that one there, that's just for one or two panels, can't remember. I think it's just for one panel. The reason why it's divided like this, so we have, actually, let me see if I can swing it around and show you more things. It's just the right angle. Even maybe I'll go up higher. Okay, so first of all, as you can see, the size of these cables are enormous. They're pretty thick, heavy gauge cables, because you don't want to lose power in transmission from, even if it's just coming from your solar panel right above the house. And which, by the way, that's a good segue to the best, the most efficient, the most productive way of powering anything, any plant, any house, any structure, any business, is if you have the source at your house. Your power source at your house, so then you don't, when you drive in the countryside or wherever, you see these big pylons with a I don't know what else you call them, these like towers, hydro towers, and they go for kilometers. They crisscross across the country, and they transfer the power from the nuclear facility or coal power plant, whatever, to the businesses and homes and cities and whatever. So in that, while they're traveling in those power lines, they lose some, I don't know how much exactly, but they lose some power, which is completely wasted. Whereas here, in this, our house is localized, so what we harvest only has to go from the ceiling down to here. Actually, a few steps under me is where the batteries are to get harvested there. That's the only distance they have to go to. And even then they lose some very not significant, but a little bit of power from there to here. So just imagine how much power is lost from wherever a nuclear plant is in where you live to your province or city or state, and it has to account for that power loss in the transmission. It's insane. I can't believe that we're still doing that in this now day and age. Each city should have their own power plant, and really, in my opinion, each house should have its own power plant like we do. Anyway, so up there you see different breakers for different panels. You have for our pump, and there's another big one under there for, let me put my glasses on, see if I can see what it says. It says PV disconnect. You can't see, it's a big breaker, but you have to trust me, it's there. And so, oh yeah, that's what I was saying. So this is a here, from where you can, oh, am I in your way? From where your view is, I think you can see at least two. I'll show you another one. Oh, wait a minute, can you? Oh no, you can't. Okay, I have to turn you around a little bit. There. Now you can see. Now look. Here on the wall, there are three different charge controllers. Charge controllers are, so what are charge controllers? Charge controllers, when the power comes down through the solar panels down to make their way to the batteries, depending on how much power is coming in. So on a super sunny, clear, blue sky, cool day, by the way, I don't know if you knew this, our region, because it's a cooler region, solar panels prefer cooler to hotter. What I mean is they're more efficient in cooler areas, regions, than they are in the hotter regions. So for instance, if say Mongolia or Egypt or whatever, Saudi Arabia has 400 days of sun days a year, but because, not Mongolia because it's cooler there, let's just stick to Egypt and Saudi Arabia, but because it's so hot there, the solar panels aren't as efficient as say somewhere like where we are, where it's cooler. We have less sun days, but our suns in the winter in particular, because we don't have any industry, we don't have any smog, we don't have any, and we're at high elevations. This is one of the reasons why all those telescopes go up to where it is high up, to get rid of all that bad weather, junk, smog, whatever, to block the view. So anyway, we harvest the panels, the same panel that we have here. If we had the same panel here as in say Egypt, ours would be more efficient. So when that power starts to come surge down to the battery real quick and real fast, and sometimes these wires can get hot because that's how much power is coming down. Well, the job of a the job of a charge controller, there's one here, one there, and there's another one down there, is to make sure that the batteries don't overcharge. There is such a thing as overcharging your batteries, in particular the lead acid ones. Same as your car, it can explode. And I've never had that experience, and I don't want to. But this is what the job of a charge controller is. Once charge controller realizes that your batteries are full or near full, it cuts power down. It doesn't matter how much sun you're getting harvesting now, or where you are in the day. It just doesn't allow any more charge to go into your batteries. That's why they call it charge controllers. Now, if you want to, at that time, say you have a EV, electric car, you can plug in your car at any time and harvest that extra. Or what we do is we do our laundry or whatever that we need to do on those particularly sunny, clear, blue sky, high UV days. There's nothing stopping the sun from reaching the panels at their optimal. So, or some folks are tied into grid where they sell their power to the power companies when they have so much of it, and at night they can buy it back when there's no sun. Because in the morning, a lot of people, I guess, do their laundry, or the businesses are running, and less businesses are running at night. We didn't want to be dependent on, have any ties to the grid or the governments or the utility companies. So we're completely off the grid. What we harvest is ours. We paid for all of these things. We paid dearly, and for the batteries that we just upgraded a lot for those, so that it's all ours. If we have any surplus, that's ours, and if we don't have enough, we may have to run a generator so our batteries don't run completely empty. Although lithium ions do better with that. This blue thing that you see here is a lightning redirector or something to do with the. So if you hit by a lightning, you don't fry your components. Oh yeah, so why do we have 1, 2, 3 charge controllers? So my understanding is that we went through 4 or 5 electricians. Finally, our latest one is a really nice guy, a young guy, and he's not actually an electrician. He's more of an electrical engineer. So he told us that the panels like to be paired or connected in threes. So if we have, say, 10 panels, we couldn't have all of them connected to that one big one. And this is Midnight Classic. That's the most expensive you can buy, by the way. It's supposed to be the gold standard. And so because of that, we had to either buy a big one of those, that big Midnight Black vertical one, that would cost so much more. We already had that. Or now that we already had that, we have to buy different ones to divide our 10 panels into different charge controllers. So that holds, say, 6. That's responsible for 6 panels. The one on the wall, the one on the opposite, adjacent to it, is responsible for 3 other panels, and this one here, this little one, is responsible for 1. And each one shows you how full the battery is. This one's showing, so we're at 25. Let me put my glasses on. This one's saying we're at 26.5 volts, and it's showing how it's being charged. And it's collecting 0.6 amps at the moment. Every time a cloud goes by, I can tell you it's 40.7 kilowatts, and again 26.3 volts. This is the temperature, 25 Celsius of this here. The other ones will tell you different things. If you want, we can. Let me see. I'll bring you up, and you can maybe see what they say. Maybe I went too high. Did I overshoot it? I don't know if you can still see. If I go any closer, I won't be able to see. I won't be able to read it. I'll make an attempt. To read it. I do have these glasses on, but they're not prescription glasses. They're just charity store. Okay, no, yeah, I can read it. So let's start from here. It says 89.3.4 volts, 26.3 volts. That's what the batteries are at. Right now we're collecting 5 amps coming in. This could, at times on a super sunny day, that could be 60 amps coming in. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to 5 amps. The super cloudy day today. And this is kilowatts per hour. So it's 0.7. They can be all adjusted to whatever that you want to see, for different measurements, and they each have their own fans. The fan for this one isn't going on right now, and it will not go on until it's sunny. And when, like I was saying, when it's sunny, there's so much surge of power coming in. Look at the size of these cables coming in that it needs to cool itself down. That's how much power comes in. But the inverter goes on every time, say there's the fridge or freezer is defrosting. Every time there's a surge of power. What I mean is, say, like, so I built all of the interior of the house using our own power. Cut the lumber and all that stuff. And so every time there's a surge, this thing has to cool itself down. So now you get a little bit of an understanding of how much is gone into all of that. And these components are not cheap. They are going down in price, but not like to a point that you might think, or you might say, well, I can wait a little longer. It's not that much. Just if that's what you're waiting for, don't wait. Just go ahead and get situated, or whatever that you want to do, because it's probably safer that way. Price of some things are coming down, like the panels. That we could wait, but then how long are you going to wait? You wait, then they get cheaper again and again and again. So when are you going to start your life? Problem though now is, although some things like maybe some batteries, or definitely the solar panels, have come down in price, the cost of labor's gone up so much more. So when we started this setup maybe 8-9 years ago, the cost of labor was less than half. Now it's a lot more. So remember that too. Oh, I wanted to show you. I did say this is just like we have a lot of fuses everywhere, but breakers, and this is just like one of them. The pump, I don't know what that says. That's the date. Bit dusty. We don't really go there much. There. So now you have some understanding of how much work is required to going into an off-grid situation. But we've learned so much in just, I don't know, a decade that we've been here, and I would say that we wouldn't trade this for going back to being dependent on the utility companies, or so in Atlantic Canada, power outage is a sure thing every year. I don't know how many times a year. Sometimes a few hours, sometimes a couple of days. Well, there's a lot of forest here, and all it takes is one tree to come down on a cable, or a storm, which they get a lot, especially down by the coast. So about 3 hours south of us, they have hurricanes there. We don't get hurricanes where we are, but only 3 hours south of us they get hurricanes. And when hurricanes come, there's no power for a lot of people. I feel bad, but I mean, this is an investment. It was an investment for us, and we know that by now we're pretty much carbon neutral, because for the length of time that we've had these. Maybe not the batteries, because we just updated those, but for most components, we've had them for so long. I think solar panels are carbon neutral in 4 years, something like that. Anyway, I'm not trying to encourage you to do it. It's not cheap, and it's not easy. And when we started this, we had to educate a lot of electricians and even inspectors. They'd never seen or heard of anyone doing this, especially because the cost was so much higher. And so I would say that if you're not comfortable, don't do it. But for those of you who were just asking, just wondering, or maybe one day you want to take on such a challenge, or know that you're using clean energy, whatever, then you can go ahead and do it. Now, and on this house, if we get an offer on this house to sell it, then we would sell it, and whoever buys it won't have to now deal with doing doing any of this. Find the right, do the research on these right components. Find the person to do it. Who's gonna go all the way up to the ceiling? Are you gonna bring more trees down? What about these cables? How much are these cables gonna cost? Because there's kilometers of them. And you know, who can you trust? This is all done for you. So that's one way to go about it, to buy a puppy that already has that. Another way would be to, maybe you're handy, maybe you know you've done some research. And by the way, YouTube is good, like for some things, but when it gets kind of complicated, I'm scared of anything electrical. I'm scared to death. I'll pay the guy whatever he wants. Like our electrical engineer, we really like him. He knows what he's talking about. He's building his own EV. He has his own company. He works for the dam. He's pretty knowledgeable, and one of those people that lives for this stuff. That's his passion. So let him do it. What am I going to look up a YouTube video or two and try to set the house on fire and make things explode and not hook things right? No, thank you. There are times to be frugal and or whatever, and DIY it, and there's times to let the professionals do it. Okay, folks. I hope you like this video. And you can watch these with your friends or kids if you like. And there are no ads here, and none of these are sponsored. I'm not advertising for anyone here. I'm not getting paid. None of these need to be paid full price. This is all, you know, this is all honest opinions and how we live off the grid like this.